And welcome back to News Hour. As we promised, Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria is already with us on the round table. Today, a lot has been happening. The last time I sat here with Moses, he told me, Ken, I'll introduce contracts for civil servants. His main aim was to cut the public wage bill, which is about 46% of our total expenditure. And the required percentage is about 35%. We are currently using more than 1 trillion shillings just to pay salaries. And he says he wants to reduce it to 800. But that's not even the story. Moses, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Ken.
The story is what the government is doing today. Is this red herring? Are you throwing our cent to something else? Or this is really happening in this country right now?
Well, at least you know that the same story I'm saying today is the same one I told you when I was here some few months ago. There was nothing, there was no crisis. And you know, sometimes what pains me is that, you know, when I talk about 1 million people taking 1.1 trillion, which is more than half of our ordinary tax revenues, then people who defend civil servants are actually, one, people in the private sector or even people without jobs in the first place.
Yeah.
For me, that's painful.
Okay.
And I think the events of the last 1 week have vindicated me that we cannot continue doing things the same way and expecting different results. When I was talking about contracts, you know, there was hue and cry. You know, people, you know, took all sorts of weapons against me, including people who don't have jobs, including young people who I said deserve to have those jobs. And I said, you know, it's about time for even those people who are, you know, spend some time in the public service to go home and leave the space for their children. Yeah. I still stand by that. I think that's a message I got from Gen Zs, you know, over the last, 2 months. So I think I was Gen Z 001.
That this wage bill is huge. The amount of money the government is spending on just defraying the expenses, recurrent expenditures, is a lot. So this is happening at such a time that there's a lot of agitation. But tell me, Moses, why would SRC even bring this proposal out at this particular moment?
You know, these were two phases. There was a first phase, which was in 2023. So this was just a second phase. For them, it was just a continuation of what had happened before. Okay. But remember, on the 15th of April, we had a very successful conference at the Bomas of Kenya, Wage Bill Conference, which was presided by His Excellency the President. And we were all there. We agreed on a 10-point plan on how to reduce the wage bill from 46% of GDP to 35% in line with international standards. And never mind that 54% of the ordinary tax revenues is what goes into payroll. And we said this is not sustainable. So what I would have expected SRC to do is to say that whereas the first phase came into being, in 2023, and whereas the second phase was supposed to follow automatically, because we agreed in April, and we agreed on everybody go and do their things, we didn't agree to go and consult. The President took the recommendations, gave me a copy on live television, give Anne Waiguru a copy for the Council of Governors to go and execute and implement, and SRC was there, cheering over the whole thing. So I think also, because one, we agreed in April that, we can't continue doing this the same way, and two, because only somebody who is, I don't know, not living in this country will not know that.
Continue doing the same thing,
the same thing again.
Okay.
That's why I want to celebrate the young people of this country. Really, for me, I'm celebrating what, the voices that have come up, because it has given voice and strength to some of us who have been, I have been complaining about our wage bill and the fact that, 1 million people taking 1.1 trillion and the other 1 trillion being left to 50 million people since 2019 as a member of the budget committee. So I feel like, Gen Zs have just come to say what I've been saying all along.
Aaron Cheruiyot in the Senate today alluded to the fact that even if you said reduce the salaries, reduce the allowances, the top is heavier, because he says about 90% of the total Kenyans earning public money earn below 150,000.
Yeah.
So the top is heavy and they're earning a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So they call now that the president dissolves the cabinet. Do you think, because you've been hearing the Gen Z voice, they've said dissolve the whole cabinet, let's start afresh. Is that something that you'd also support, because you're hearing this voice?
No, let's first of all talk about the heaviness. I'll come to the issue of dissolving cabinet and all that. Let's talk about the heaviness, As I've said, the first thing to do is to ask yourself, why would these 53 million people be so, not loving themselves as to love these 1 million people? Why would you love me like this? The Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself, not more than. In this case, the other people love us, people in public service, more than we love ourselves. That is not really very smart of the other people. So I'm very happy now that we're having this conversation. Two, the extent of how much, I was just taking figures today for insurance, for example. And I was looking at figures from NHIF. 130,000 of us who work for ministries, not even parastatals. The amount of space in our health financing, NHIF has been paying close to 15%. 15% of all our health spending has been on 130,000 families. Only. Imagine. Is it any wonder that our healthcare system has been collapsing? And you know, that is why I like this social health, the shift share thing, because it has exposed this, this really moral question, this ethical question that, let me just shock you. I'll shock you. If today you go and have a delivery in Pumwani as a normal Ken Mijungu, Pumwani hospital, a very good hospital for all purposes, for purposes of delivery, the NHF will pay Pumwani hospital 13,000 shillings.
For normal delivery.
For normal delivery. I go to Aga Khan as a public servant. And I'm not talking about senior as a public servant, even ordinary as a public servant. Yeah? The NHF will pay 89,000 for the same delivery. 89,000. Compare with 13,000. Is it that this guy has come with what now? With extra bundles or what,
Okay.
And it's just a question of equity and equitability.
Okay.
And in fact, are we saying that this kid and the other kid, that their trajectory in life is going to be different? No, really, their time has come now for us also. And that's why I'm saying, the biggest problem we have in this country are the people I look after. The public servants. You find that that's only a tip of the iceberg. Now, just try to go now to the private, to the state corporations, to the parastatals, for example, where the numbers, whereas I've got 130,000 people I look after in public service, the ones in parastatals are 400,000. 400,000, and they spend another huge amount of money on things like medical and all that kind of thing. So you find that these 1 million people, if I find any of us in heaven, I'll cause a riot.
I'll just in
but dissolution of cabinet, I think that's the prerogative of the president.
Okay.
Why are we dissolving cabinet? Are we dissolving cabinet because people feel that we are not performing? Fine.
Yeah.
And if the jury says that Moses Kuri has to go home, I will be the first one saying yes, we go home. But it's about time we also deliver, and it's about time also we execute. It's not just about talking and big plans. I have a problem myself in our execution. I think that this whatever has happened now is a good window to open and say, are we quick to execute?
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Because, Kenyans, we are short of time. We can't waste one single day. All these bureaucracies, rigmaroles going round and round. So what we need is to have sharper focus on delivery so that we can be able to deliver the results for Kenyans. Okay. And in so doing, people have to know that, that era whereby everybody fitted into government jobs is gone. Even into white-collar jobs, forget about in government. Tomorrow, I'm going to, tomorrow I'm going to release a letter that I'm going to write to the Public Service Commission. You heard the CS for National Treasury during budget speech says for the next 1 year we shouldn't have, employment.
Yeah.
Today, to my shock and horror, I found the Minister of Cooperatives sending an advertisement for 160,000 jobs in the cooperative movement, a devolved function. 160,000. No, 160 jobs, sorry. 160
jobs. I would have wondered.
No, 160 jobs, for a devolved service. You have got cooperative officers right there.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to have any of that.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, because anyway, the excuse I'm getting is, this was already in progress. By the time, Juguna and Dungu announced this, I'm saying, even if it was in process, stop it. Stop it, and then we're going to form a tripartite committee between my ministry, Public Service Commission, and Treasury.
It's within your mandate to do this?
Yes,
because they will say you're digging in.
No. It's within their work is to hire.
Yeah.
My work is to determine whether they should be hired.
Okay. Because I want to talk about austerity, but talk to me, if corruption in this country will be reduced significantly, Moses, do you think we can still save these jobs and money will be redirected to something else? And what will
even if we reduce corruption, and we should reduce, we should not reduce corruption, we should eliminate corruption. Even if we eliminate corruption, let's look at it this way. Salary is 1.1 trillion.
Which goes to workers.
Recurrent expenditure, debt, another 1 trillion. That is 2.8 trillion, yeah? Recurrent expenditure, another, maybe another 500, 600 thereabout. Development expenditure, 700, which now with budget cuts, unfortunately is my mother in the village, and the roads and the water and the electricity that gets to suffer. Even if we stop corruption and we eliminate corruption, which we should, that money should not go to create more jobs in the public space. It should go to spur up the economy, re-energize the private sector. That's where we should create jobs.
So that's why we should be looking.
We should be looking at that. If we are taking this money, for example, to go and build those industrial parks, the ones I was launching the other day. So at every corner of this country, from Suba to Mombasa to Garissa, so that we stop this notion of that jobs exist only in Nairobi. So that these young people are able to go, everybody go to their own corner, and they're able to get jobs. Okay. If we use this money to to drive our digital superhighway and to drive our digital jobs, that's welcome. If we use this money to promote Kenya as a source of labor export and the source of the best employees and people to work in the world, that is okay. But you can't use this just to give people entitlements, because you're going to.
So that's an imperative for you. That we are not going to that area.
We are not going to that area again, because in any case, even if you reduce salaries, what about the mandazis?
Okay, the taxi
and the flowers.
Okay,
and the party.
Now let's summarize with austerity. In your view, the president has cut spending, has cut some offices, right? Even in travel, has told most of your ministries, and I know probably your ministry is also affected in this budget cut. Is that a measure that is near to our solution?
It is, but I want it differently. I don't even want it from the president.
Okay.
I want us to look at ourselves in the mirror. And next week, my ministry and the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary have convened a meeting at the Kenya School of Government next Tuesday to look at ourselves in the mirror. Why would I wait? We all have seen where we are. Why, me as a minister, as a PS, as a CEO, as some senior director there, why would I wait for the president to tell me to reduce, expenditure? I want this to be organic and to come from our hearts, to believe that it can be done, and we are welcoming other ideas on this austerity. Actually, I want to take to Twitter Spaces in the next few days and, solicit for ideas from guests. Where do you think we can get it better? Where do you think we can be able to cut extra part?
NADCO reports almost 100 pages from almost 540-something to 60 to 600 is all about austerity. And
no, it didn't talk about mandazi. It didn't talk about travel. It didn't talk about all these things. We need to be microscopic.
Okay.
And we need to be deliberate. And we need to do it ourselves. I repeat, this is not for the president. We need to call ourselves into a meeting, look at ourselves in the mirror. If the mirror tells us we have a pimple, it's not don't break the mirror. It's not the one who caused the pimple. And that's the same thing I'm saying about Gen Zs. They've just woken up to something. It's not something new they've brought up. It's about time we face the challenges of this country and with fortitude and togetherness march forward together.
Finally, is the president honestly committed to giving some blood to this young generation?
100%. 100%. And I'm right there behind him. 100%.
What do you think it will take?
100%.
What do you think it will take?
Difficult decisions.
He has to make the difficult decisions.
He has to take difficult decisions. Time has come. Do nothing is not an option.
Moses Kuria, thank you so much for coming tonight. Your parting shots in 30 seconds
Kenyans,
for the Gen Z.
Let's have
especially the goons that are being used to.
No, for the goons, and I'm very happy that the Gen Zs have said they separate the goons from the genuine people.
Yeah.
I think collectively as a country, we have got some mea culpa moment that we need to do. I think all of us need to be honest about it. I've seen some people try to say, oh, it wasn't me. Oh, me, I was not there. Some people trying now to be cleaner, to be holier than Caesar's wife. We are in all this together. Don't say, oh, I told them they didn't reason.
Who are you referring to, Moses?
Your guess is as good as
No, it's not. Tell me.
Have a good evening.
Thank you so much, Moses Kuria, for speaking to us tonight. And time now to take another break. Ahead in